Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell. You'll get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And when I'm not asking Bruce, hey, how big was Batista's? Well, you know. One of the things I like to do is help people save money. And if you're watching this video right now and you're in a 30-year loan, man, you're overpaying your single biggest bill and you may not even realize it. I want you to do a little experiment for me. Take your calculator out, multiply your monthly house payment by 360 payments. That's how many payments there are in a 30-year loan. That big scary number, that's your total of payments. You're looking at that number? You know you can do better. Keep more of your own money right now and go to savewithconrad.com. Or maybe you've got credit card debt. Man, it's not a matter of if I can save you money with that. Your average interest rate on a credit card is more than 20%. And by the way, all the interest you pay on those credit cards, it's not tax deductible. Whereas the mortgage interest, well, that is tax deductible. So if you owe this debt, it's up to you how to pay it back. Doesn't it make sense to get the cheapest rate possible and the greatest tax deduction possible? Find out how much money you can save right now for free at savewithconrad.com. You don't need perfect credit. Even scores in the 500s can be approved, and it's no cost out of pocket. But maybe best of all, we're licensed in more than 40 states. We can help more families than ever before. But how much can we save you? Find out right now for free with a quick quote from savewithconrad.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Welcome to WHW Monday. Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson.
Jim Crockett for Starcade, 605 NWA. TV title, Cajun Omni, the Bunkhouse Stampede. Flair and Horseman, Garvin, Bogey, Magnum RnR Express Tag Team. Turner, Bond, Mid-South Joint World Championship Wrestling.
Talking about the great years of World Championship Wrestling, the NWA, and Jim Crockett Promotions.
Tony and Friends North, they win. Look, Schiavone's back again. World title split off, center stage, Bischoff. Disney, Hogan, and Nitro. New World Order and The Crow. Thunder, Russo, Arquette Champ, Vinnie Mac, simulcast. Tony's back with Conrad, not your classy podcast. Watch along, try not to laugh. Lowest rules, cat back. This wasn't the initial plan. Thompson's a good-looking man. Klondike Bill, make a chant. Tommy, you come over here.
What happened when?
WHW Monday. And now, let's go to the ring. And here's your co-host. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? With the voice of your childhood, Tony Schiavone. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
Just another great day in this wonderful month of February. I don't know how it's been with you in Huntsville, Alabama, but it has rained here just about every fucking day.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking tired of it.
Is it I love we're coming in hot.
I am. I just wake up, I look at my phone and it says 100% by 6 o'clock, 70% by 7. I'm thinking, what? You know, where is the freaking sunshine? What is going on? What the fuck?
You know what's funny? Boy, we're getting our old school ways here. We've done such a good job about just talking about wrestling, and it's been rather even clean language by accident. And then you just drop, what the fuck?
I'm just tired of it, man. I want to go with a place where there's sunshine. And I have thought about a couple of things.
Oh,
I have thought. I know it will never work because I'm not completely financially set yet. Working my way there. But I had thought about moving to the Grand Cayman.
like moving.
But two things I would need. Okay. I would need a great internet so we could still do the show.
Yeah.
And I would need flights to Jacksonville, which I know I could get. Yeah, I've thought about that only because I want to live in the sunshine. I want to live in nice weather. I want to be able to wear shorts and I still do this. You can ask Lois this. I still wear shorts and sandals.
Yeah.
Every day. Even Bug and I went out yesterday to the store and I wore purple shorts and flip-flops.
Oh, you don't mean like in the summer. You mean now in February.
Yes. Yes.
What's the temperature over there today?
42 degrees, maybe.
So you went to the store in flip-flops and shorts.
Yes.
There you
Purple
go.
Tommy Bahama shorts and I had a Tommy Bahama sweater on, so I stayed warm up top. But Lois looked at me and laughed. She said, you shouldn't go out like that. She tells me that all the time. And I said, I'm just trying.
Wait, Lois doesn't go out at all.
I know. That won't stop her from bossing me around, buddy. So you shouldn't go out like that. You go out like that all the time. I said, I'm not going to conform to the fucking weather.
Right.
The weather's going to conform to me. I'm staying in summer gear.
I like it.
So flip-flops and shorts for me. Please, I ask you, maybe I should go to mass sometimes more. I go to mass maybe once a month. I should go every week and pray the rosary.
Buddy.
Give me sunshine. Get this system that has been here since March of last year and send it like to Texas or to the Midwest. Get it out. We've got moisture pumping up from the Gulf. Well, fuck that. Wow.
Tony,
So anyway.
do you know your chief complaint in life right now is the weather? Like, this is the most spoiled old white rich man complaint of all time. Hashtag first world problems. We're not talking about our aunt who's sick or our grandkids who aren't doing well in school or an overdrawn bank account. I'd like to see more sunshine around here. You've become Grandpa Simpson. Old man yells at cloud.
I guess I have. Well, there you go. You've helped mold me to that position. One of the reasons I would never move to the Grand Cayman, deep down in my heart, is that I would want to see my grandchildren on a regular basis. So
I'm glad
I
wanted to baby face that before we moved on.
Well, yeah. And listen, give me Apple TV.
Yep.
Okay. With all the apps, give me Bug.
Yep.
Give me energy drinks. Give me a nice, easy chair. And that's all I need in life.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all I need.
Oh, what about Lois? You didn't list her.
Yeah. Okay. She can email me now and then. I got an email for her too. Go fuck yourself at gmail.com. So yeah, Lois.
Once upon a time, Tony, we used to talk about wrestling on this show.
Yeah. You know what she hit me with the other day? She said, damn clouds. She said, she hit me with the other day. She said, we had such a great time when we had the floors done last summer, and we spent a week in the cabin. I went, really? We did? There's an episode of Living with Lois or Life with Lois. I think we've changed the name back and forth, where it shows us in the cabin and how much fun we had. Okay.
When are you going back to the cabin?
I probably in the summer. It's not the cabin. It's just like a Airbnb or whatever. Yeah. Because we have wonderful mountains here in Georgia. We do. Blairsville, Helen, Blue Ridge, just great places. I love the North Georgia mountains. So maybe I'll end up there. Yeah. In a cabin in North Georgia mountains. And if they've got, internet.
Dude, why don't you just come live here? I kind of live in the wilderness a little bit, but you got all the conveniences of home.
Yeah.
You can just move downstairs, bring Bug.
Okay.
I'd only see you like once a week at most if you live downstairs. It wouldn't be any different than now.
This is really tempting. Silva wouldn't come over, would he?
No.
How about Stan?
Nope. Stan's never coming back.
Okay. Cassio, would I see him?
He was here last night. So now here's the deal. We stayed upstairs. We'd stay out of your way.
Okay, good.
So, now most of the liquor's downstairs, so we might have to make a run, or we would just send you a text to send something up on the elevator.
Yeah, that's what I'd do.
You wouldn't have to see us, but
yeah. Okay.
Now during the summer, we are going to need pool visitation. You understand?
Well, then I can just,
here's the deal. We could go upstairs and I'll never go up there.
Oh, you never go upstairs in your house?
No, it's just 2 guest rooms. So I don't have why would I go up there?
You got teenage girls still living there?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'll pass on that.
Now here's the deal. They're part-time and you would be too.
Yeah.
And they're both turning 17. So they'll only be here another year and then they're out of here.
Oof.
Now my 17-year-old girls are different than most 17-year-old girls.
Well, good. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they got to be, or you wouldn't have them living in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, you want to talk wrestling?
Man, I've been wanting to for a while, and I'm glad that you're here. Tony, let's get up off the couch now that we've solved all the world's problems, and let's watch a little wrestling. It's World Championship Wrestling. February 15th, 1986. We're watching 1986 in order. By the way, if you're with us over on adfreeshows.com or patreon.com/WHW Monday, you're also getting a 605 special every single Saturday. 2 down so far, Tony. And we're watching Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, the syndicated show, the companion for what we're about to watch now, right?
We are. And we are going back into some great stuff. We're going to see in this show the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, which is always a lot of fun, right? We're going to see Teijo Khan. Holy shit, Teijo Khan. I'd forgotten about him.
Now, here's the deal. I'm really surprised you're saying you forgot about him, because it's been well established that is Tony Khan's uncle. And that's the reason that Tony has such a wrestling fascination. You know, his dad went off to, well, you know what his dad did, but his uncle, we're going to talk about what all his uncle did on this very show.
Okay. That's good. Well, I'm excited about it. I'm excited for many reasons.
Well, let's do it, man. It's World Championship Wrestling, February 15th, 1986. Fire up your WWE network, scroll down until you see WCW, scoot over to World Championship Wrestling, click 1986 on the drop down, and then you'll see February 15th, 1986. And I think we've got, do we have a special countdown today, Tony?
We do. I do want to say before this countdown starts that Tony in real life has made a lot of friends in wrestling.
Yeah,
I have a lot of friends that I knew from way back when that I've reconnected with, a lot thanks to you, and a lot of brand new friends. I have one very special friend that means a lot to me. And that person is going to give the countdown right now.
This is Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, the role model and the face of the AEW women's division. My bestie, Tony Schiavone, asked me to do a countdown for this week's podcast. And since he obviously needs me everywhere he goes, I decided to do it. But of course, you owe me now, Tony, and I'll send you the bill for this. Now, here is this week's countdown to video in 3, 2, 1, play.
Tully trying to get out of it. Can he do it?
Getting right down near the end, too, David. There's the bell.
Now he's after JJ. JJ backing up.
Tully caught him with that right foot.
I love this pile driver. I can watch it over and over.
Wait a minute.
The pile driver.
Wait a minute. JJ, give me that belt back.
JJ has taken the National Heavyweight Championship belt.
Give me that belt back. He's whipping him. He's whipping him like a dog.
Look at him. Look at him.
World Championship Wrestling, bringing you great wrestling action, sanctioned by the NWA, National Wrestling Alliance.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to World Championship Wrestling, and you're ringside with the NWA. I'm Tully Schiavone. David Crockett still on assignment and not with us this week, but we have a great 2 hours for you of the best in professional wrestling here today. On today's program, Arn Anderson will defend the World Television title against a Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Champion, Sam Houston. Also, we understand from the manager of the Midnight Express, of course, Jim Cornette, that his Midnight Express will defend the World Tag Team title right here today on this program. We'll talk more about that later on. Jim Crockett is with us today, president of Jim Crockett Promotions. Some very exciting news for you, the fans, and all the great stars of the NWA, including the RnR Express, Magnum TA, the Russian team led by Ivan Koloff, Baron von Raschke. Paul Jones will unveil a new man here today, along with his Barbarian, Tully Blanchard with James J. Dillon, and many, many other top stars. Let's go to the ring.
How about the old boogie woogie? What about you being the solo host again?
Yeah, man.
Crockett's not back.
I was, I was talking last week that David was out in St. Louis. Now I'm not so sure. But David did a lot of other things. I mean, we've.
Oh yeah, of course.
We mentioned that he did a lot of things.
He was the president of the company. I mean, Jimmy was running the wrestling, but David was running the business.
Oh Jesus!
Track it.
I thought he was gonna kiss me there.
I did too.
As you know, I kind of scooted out of the way because I thought it was on the way.
I just right into the wrestling. Just, I'm going to rake your eyes.
Yeah. I'm not taking off my beanie.
My toboggan. By the way, he's the baby face, and he started with an eye rake.
Yeah.
That's how he started.
And then a thumb. And he would do this thing. Hey, referee, watch behind me. And referee looking, he'd put a thumb right in the throat. That was one of his moves too.
And he's a baby face.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to me. I'm a baby face. I'm going to poke you in the eyes.
You know, Jimmy Valiant in real life was like really mellowed out.
Oh yeah. He's Stoner Jones. Look at him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was nothing like this guy. You know, I'm asked the question all the time. What are these guys like in real life? What were they like? Well, Flair was Flair, right? Dusty was Dusty, but Jimmy Valiant was not the boogie woogie man. He was like, hey brother, how you doing? Hey man, good to see you. Hey, appreciate all the good things you say about me. Love you, brother. That was Jimmy Valiant. I'd go, what? Are you talking? Yeah, man. Hey, good to see you. And, you know, we had him at an AEW event.
Yeah.
In Memphis. He came up right behind me. He said, hey, man, how you doing? I said, good, man. Good to see you. I said, yeah, man, how you been? I said, good. He said, who do I check about getting my money? That's the first thing, baby. Old school, he was going to come in and he's going to make sure he got paid. I said, Chris Harrington's the guy. And he says, all right, bro, good to see you, man. I ain't the boogie man. That's Jimmy Valiant. He reminded me of, and I guess he had a look too. He reminded me of an old burned out hippie, you know?
Because he is. I mean, why are you acting like this isn't? Come on. Big Booty Judy the other day said to me, Conrad, you know, I don't want to sound weird, but you look a lot like your dad.
Whoa. And
I was like, yeah, that's kind of how that works. You know, I shot out of him. That's where I started, you know, that was the start of my journey.
You know what they say about rocket scientists?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying.
When it comes to common sense.
The boogie woogie man. Next up though, we get a promo from Tully Blanchard. He's got some comments for Dusty Rhodes, and that's coming up next. And you know, we're going to track it because we love Tully.
That looks good.
You better hope that David Crockett doesn't go on too many more special assignments, because you get left out here by yourself. You get a little bit tongue-tied. I'm listening to your commentary, and believe me, I listen to every word you say. You said the domino effect obviously did not work because Jimmy Valiant was out here still wrestling.
I said Jimmy Valiant is still around, but I know that is not your end result, what you want in the domino theory, but, you know, he's still wrestling.
Let me just point something out to you. Jimmy Valiant wrestled Ron Rossi today, and it took him 3 minutes and 48 seconds by my watch to secure a victory on television here. And it looked to me from the opening bell that Jimmy Valiant was fighting for his very life in there against Ron Rossi. If Tully Blanchard had been in there, Mr. Blanchard would have put him away somewhere between 12 and 14 seconds. So the point I make is that we have taken a lot of steam out of the boogeyman Jimmy Valiant. We've just reduced him to a mere shell of what he was. And yes, the domino theory is working. They're falling right down to the end of the line. I'm talking about the national heavyweight champion, Dusty Rhodes. It's just a matter of time. How long? You know, Dusty Rhodes, JJ and I were sitting around talking the other day, and he knows how well I function under pressure. And the only pressure I've got, I'm used to having that championship belt, defending it every time I set foot in the ring, and that's pressure to walk back out with it. At Dusty Rhodes, 20-minute match, national television. I dropped you on your head, 22 minutes, I'd be the national heavyweight champion. So we took the belt and then sent it back across with the referee just as a reminder that you can be had, brother. Now, to put pressure under myself right now, I've given myself a time limit. At first, I thought 6 weeks. Then James J. said, you're better than that. You're better than that. 4 weeks. Well, Dusty Rhodes, within 4 weeks from today, I will have the National Heavyweight Championship around my waist. And out here at Dusty Rhodes, you will have nothing.
Tully Blanchard Enterprises, Tully Blanchard and James J. Dillon. We're coming right back.
4 weeks. I like the new robe. I like the promo too. Tully's on my Mount Rushmore of heels now, man.
Yeah. I had a big zit on the side of my face.
Well, here's a big zit.
His World Tag Team Champions.
Tag Team Champions.
You, I understand you have been fined $5,000 because of this. Is that true?
Yeah, I've been fined $5,000, and you know what it is to me? Nothing. It's a big deal, whoopee-ding. $5,000. Mama has already sent a check in the mail. No problem, because the World Tag Team Champions, they make about $500,000 a piece per year, so it's a good investment. $5,000, that's pocket change. You know, I told you about all the letters I've been getting from all the teeny boppers and like the RnR Express talking about what we did to them and everything. I got to wondering, what kind of mail does the RnR Express get? What do those little teeny boppers say to the rock and roll? So I caught their back turned, and I went and I snuck in the mailbag, and you know what I found? I found a whole bunch of stack of letters, got all the good ones, and one of the girls that wrote to the rock and roll sent a picture of herself. Bobby, Dennis, help me with this. This is a picture of one of the girls that was writing to the RnR Express, a big fat cow. That's all you got. Get a good shot of it. That's all you got writing to you, rock and roll, because you're a couple of nappy-headed, geeky-looking little twerps. The pretty girls write to the real men, the champions, the Midnight Express, a couple of real macho men, just like I am. That's who the real pretty girls write to, the World Tag Team Champions. What we took away from you, rock and roll, and now you got nothing except a bunch of fat, ugly cows cheering for you. And, Tony, on TV right here today, you know, the rock and roll, they were so scared they'd never defend the belts, especially on TV, national TV, in front of 20 million people. Well, the World Tag Team Champions, the Midnight Express, they are defending the belts on television right here today against a great team, the pride of the USA, Don Kernodle. He used to hold half of the World Tag Team title.
Right, you're right.
And the big Cowboy from Texas, big outlaw Ron Bass. That's who we're going to defend the titles against right here on television today. And we're going to show everybody that we are indeed fighting champions. Ladies and gentlemen, you're champions of the NWA, the greatest tag team that there's ever been in professional wrestling and rock and roll. Hey, Bobby, why don't we take and put that up on the wall, or maybe put it under the sink to keep the roaches away? Rock and roll, we'll say hello to all the girls that used to cheer for you, now that they're cheering for a couple of real men, a couple of champions, and allowed to say 3 real men, because I'm about as macho as they are, and I'm certainly a lot more man than the RnR Express. Let's go train, boys.
There they are. You heard it today for the World Tag Team title. The Midnight Express with Jim Cornette against Ron Bass and Don Kernodle. It should be a great matchup. Let's go back to the ring.
What do you think?
Hey, he's tremendous.
Dude,
he's just
pulling out that poster. You couldn't get away with that today, but my goodness.
No, you couldn't. But man, he was just, you know, I've often said that Flair's, as far as promos are concerned, that I was involved with, Flair was number 1 and he was number 2.
Yeah.
Sometimes Cornette would leapfrog him if you just compared, you know, what happened that day. Also, I don't know if you noticed, man, Dennis Condrey always fucked with me.
The whole time.
Yeah, the whole time he fucked with me.
By the way, I just realized watching right there that Dennis Condrey could be related to Big Daddy Dink, Sir Oliver Humperdinck. Just through the face. Dude,
yeah.
If you told me, oh, well, you know, Dink was Dennis's uncle. Oh yeah, that checks out. That makes sense.
Marks on the forehead. Do you think those things are hereditary? because they both had them.
Let's shut the show down. We won't beat that line. Here's my favorite part of this. And Lord, I know me and you are not the best looking dudes in the world, but when Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton and you, that's who we're talking about when Cornette's saying, "Oh, all the pretty girls write to us." I'm like, no, they don't. No, they don't. Those guys look like they are like, take them out of the context of being the greatest tag team ever. They look like they should be on the VHS cover from some like Dirty Rotten Scoundrel movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the word association, you know, if you just showed someone their picture, like a person on the street, not a wrestling fan, just hey, what word would you use to describe these guys look? I mean, they would probably come up with something like scallywag. You know, like when I look at Dennis Condrey, scallywag.
Yeah. What was so funny was when Cornette said they were macho and good looking, talk about himself, brings me back to the old thing where Flair said. Flair would say, "Hey man, we're heels. We lie on TV all the time. That's all we do. If we get beat, we ignore it and we lie and say we won." So the Baron here is kind of working with a real lug. I mean, I've noticed this.
This guy has been terrible every time we've seen him.
This guy, he's trying to do some stuff, but he's terrible. He's terrible. And Baron's old school, so he's easy, man.
Yeah. I think that guy's son is on Dark.
Could be.
About 72 matches a week now.
Could be. I get lost in them, man. Ooh.
I mean, I feel like it's probably air traffic control back there some of these days when they're filming Dark.
And some of the times that we finish filming Dark would blow your mind.
Yeah. 3 a.m.
Yeah. And I remember thinking one day, look at this guy. Guy won't even go up that easy. I remember thinking one day, man, this is too fucking long. And then I got to thinking, these fuckers work once every other week.
Yeah.
Stay to 3 a.m. What else you got going on in your life, right? I mean, geez, they don't go to the arenas. The kids on Dark don't have a territory where they have to work every night. Just go out there and work. If it's 3 a.m., it's 3 a.m. So
this guy's a sack of shit, man.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
There comes that goose walk. Here we go.
Oh, see that? He didn't even turn around for him.
What the fuck, man?
That's why he showed the claw and then he had to hit him.
That's going to be the finish.
That's a great finish, man.
I hate it so much. But next we get to see, and this is real, guys. I want everyone to take this very seriously and make sure you report it everywhere you can.
Click, click, click.
Tony Schiavone is sharing with us here that we're about to see the debut of the owner of AEW, Tony Khan's uncle, Teijo Khan. He decided to get in a different family business.
This is a lie, but it's funny.
You told us this off air.
I didn't tell you. Okay, here we go.
Paul Jones and the introduction of Mr. Tony Khan's uncle. Right there he is.
2 questions for you.
I'm going to introduce you here to Teijo Khan, the newest addition to my stable. Now, I expect great things from this man. He's a superior athlete from Singapore. And you know, some people might ask, well, why is Paul Jones building such a large organization? Well, let me tell you something. 1985, I suffered a lot of injuries bodily to myself. And that's not going to happen in 1986. And if I want to control the wrestling world, I have to have an army of my own. And with the Barbarian and the Baron von Raschke and Teijo Khan, brother, let me tell you something. It's going to happen. 1986 is going to be it.
Das is Ricky, and we are going to serve Herr Paul Jones. He has the master plan. He will rule the wrestling world, and we don't care who we are in the ring with. And I tell you something, let me warn you, there are certain wrestlers who are calling us names from behind the back. They are going to pay first of all, and that's all the people need to know.
Let's go back to the ring.
Well, what did you think? We got to see Tony Khan's uncle there.
Fuck you.
By the way, we should apologize. Condolences to the Khan family. Teijo passed away at his home in Spring Valley, Nevada at the age of 64 last April.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't really have that much of a run in wrestling that I remember.
Another Minnesotan?
Yeah, he was another Minnesota musclehead, as I called him.
Although, you know, in theory here, I guess he's from Singapore or Mongolia or wherever he said.
Yeah. How about this long, thin guy that the Barbarian is facing?
He looks like a computer programmer. That's the guy who's going to help Jim Ross get on Zoom. He's a member of the Best Buy Geek Squad.
You know, I was thinking of when I'm holding that microphone there. I don't know what I was thinking then, but what I'm thinking now by watching it, that I was the luckiest fucker in the world back then. I was. I'm holding the microphone for Baron von Raschke. Fuck, man. How great can that be? Just, I don't know. Just, this guy, the Barbarian. This is actually funny. This guy is so, sell that back there, fella. Oh, look at his chest. Who was in charge of booking these guys? Do you know? I don't know the story about this. Who was in charge of job guys back then? Have you ever heard? I need to ask JJ. I'm going to send JJ a note. Say, JJ, back in the TBS days, who was in charge of bringing in enhancement talent?
I think it was JJ.
Okay. But I mean, you would never, these guys didn't, I mean, these guys just worked on Saturday. That's it. There wasn't independent wrestling well, there may have been.
Oh, there were. Yeah. There were outlaw spot shows all over.
But not like it is today, right?
No, I mean, in this era, Memphis still existed. I mean, there were still territories, but it wasn't like what it was before. It wasn't at the boom. It wasn't at its height.
Right.
But they could still go work. But yeah, this guy had a real job. He wasn't wrestling full time.
Yeah.
I mean, look at him.
Yeah.
I'm not shitting, by the way. He's just an average dude is what I mean.
Right.
Like if you're a wrestler, you look like Barbarian. If you're a regular dude, you like the dude getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah. And not only that, if you're just a regular dude here, you're scared fucking shitless. I would think.
Yeah. You're on TV and you got a big badass here.
Yeah. And you got a guy, you just don't know if he's going to work or not. And you don't know as an enhancement talent. And this is really the key. You don't know if you're doing the right thing. You don't know if you selling here, if you're making the star happy or not. And you'd find out quickly if you're wrestling like a Ron Garvin or an Ole Anderson back in the day, if they didn't like what you were doing. You would find out quickly. I still, and I know it's 85 and I don't know if it's on the network. I still would like to find, if there's one of our listeners out there that can find, I'd love to see it. I still want to see the time when Ole Anderson, it was apparent that, and I've talked about this before, it was apparent that the job guy did not do what Ole wanted and was trying to become a star. And Ole fucking just beat the fuck out of him, headbutted him. And when he headbutted him, you know, the marks on his forehead being thin, his forehead skin, his forehead exploded into blood. And we had to stay off of Ole. And then he came and he did an interview with the towel over his head. To me, that is the enhancement match that I remember more than any of the ones that we did on all those years on TBS. So again, you're the enhancement guy here. You're wondering, man, you know, am I selling okay for this guy? Okay. And if not, this fucker can break me in half. But the Barbarian was a great guy, you know, as all the Samoans were always.
I asked Tommy Young.
All the Samoans were good guys. And I'm sure, like, you know, this guy is like, I mean, this guy's fucking over. Get back in the fucking ring right now. Right. I mean, he's moving in slow motion. So, you know, get back in the ring, let him beat you up. That's what you wanted. So I'd love to have seen the Barbarian and Ming get in the ring one day when they had like, I don't know, 4 or 5 shots of tequila? You didn't see something good then, buddy.
You want to shoot? It would have been a shoot.
It's carnage in the ring. My God, I can't watch. Something like that. Okay. The Bigfoot. And then maybe the flying headbutt. This guy's like, this guy's another lug. See there, as a job guy,
Man, that was less than ideal. He made it look fine, but.
Oh, of course he did.
Here comes the big headbutt.
Yeah. If you're a job guy, you know, do you try to get up to help him? In other words, I never did like, and this is small, I never did like enhancement talent laying on the mat after they gotten beaten up and the guy having to pick them up. I always thought, try to get up on all fours as if you're trying to get up. And now you help him, because picking up a guy from the mat to me never looked good.
Here we go. It's Boogie.
All right.
So what Tully, Blanchard, or James J. Dillon will tell you, I don't think they said they took some steam out of you. I don't think Tully Blanchard's taking any steam out of you, Jimmy Valiant.
This man Rhodes, the boogie woogie man, you see we tight, baby. I mean, if this man Rhodes would say, Boogie Man, taste that Kool-Aid, I wouldn't hesitate. You know where I'm coming from?
I know where you're coming from.
Well, J.J. Dillon, tell that Blanchard, you're not going to run the Boogie Man nowhere. You're not going to run Dusty Rhodes nowhere. In fact, if you play dominoes with Boogie Man or Dustman Rhodes, we're going to skunk you. You understand where I'm coming from?
I certainly do.
I got one more thing to say, baby.
Okay.
Mr. Weasel, Paul Jones, you got 3 people in your stable that you're building. Number 1, the Barbarian from Parts Unknown. Number 2, Mr. Bear von Raschke from East Germany. And number 3, Teijo Techo Khan. From where?
Singapore.
Singapore. Well, what they are to the boogeyman, baby, is nothing but bald-headed geeks. Bald-headed geeks. That's right, Jack. Forfeit.
Jimmy the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant. More action awaits you in the ring.
This is one of the most important enhancement matches in Jim Crockett history. Tully Blanchard in his brand new robe with JJ in his corner, Pee Wee as our referee. And on the other side, a singleted Ray Traylor. We saw him before with just the short tights. Now he's out of the top. And this is going to be the match that gets the big boss man a job.
Yeah. I remember this day, as a matter of fact.
Tell us about
it. Dusty said afterwards, he said, man, did you see that guy, Ray Traylor? He said, for a big guy, he can move. There's something we can do with this guy. I remember distinctly him saying that. And I remember thinking as the match was going on that, you know, this guy's pretty damn good. You know, when you got it, it's really apparent. And so this is a match that actually made him Big Bubba.
Yes, this is going to make him Big Bubba. And of course, without the success of being Big Bubba, he wouldn't have become the big boss man.
Right.
I mean, this is the beginning. This is his breaking out point. And the finish is fucking spectacular. I really like this. And by the way, you're doing some commentary here. Let's track it.
Already approximately 30 seconds into the match, he's taken a man that is probably 6'6", 6'7", 325 pounds at least, and by taking him off his feet, height no longer becomes an advantage.
You're right about that. He took him.
Well, it wasn't the segment I was hoping for, but he starts applying a little the foot submission, and it looks like he's setting up like an STF or something. But he's not, and he can't exactly do exactly what he wants. And you sort of explain it, but I like what they're doing so far. It looks like a shoot.
Sure does. Love this. It's, I've talked about the hook. You watch this and you say, I mean, you saw that last guy who was a fucking lug. We've seen a couple of lugs with Baron and with Barbarian. You look at those and say, fuck. But you look at this and you think, Hey, this is a real wrestling match we got going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I mean, see, he's trying to get up.
Yeah.
And there you go. I talk about that. Try to get up. Don't just lay on the canvas. Do some movement. I mean, that other guy.
Here it is. Here's the segment.
Now Dylan concentrating on what is taking place in the ring. Obviously, when you have your favorite maneuver, you have to adjust for different people. Think about now the Midnight Express is to bring up two guys, or either Bobby or Dennis, who really adapt their favorite moves to their opponent.
I mean, that looked real. Everything we just saw.
Yeah, right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some theatrics in it, but it's much closer to amateur wrestling than anything else we've seen on the show so far.
Sure it is. And he became, obviously he became a major star. I mean, the Big Bubba Hulk Hogan run, Boss Man Hulk Hogan run was a big one.
And what's so amazing to me is, I mean, listen, I love the Big Boss Man. It's one of my favorite characters ever, but he's just a big fat guy here. He's not presented as being special in any way, but his work stands out enough, especially with what he can do at his size, that you're like, well, we need to do something else with this guy.
Yeah.
And then you change the presentation. You put him in a suit, you put him in a tie, you put that black hat and the shades on him. Now he looks like a badass.
Yeah.
Or you put him in the whole prison guard outfit. Boys and girls, look at this.
Up! Oh my! Blanchard got him up! And he's gonna pin him!
Did you see how fucking pumped Tully was that he hit that move?
Mm-hmm.
That was real. His excitement over nailing that root. By the way, what we just saw was a slingshot suplex finish with Tully Blanchard slingshot suplexing Bubba over the top. It's unbelievable. And here he is.
Jim Cornette was out here. We said, hey, Jim Cornette has been levied a fine of $5,000, which really does not bother him monetarily wise in the least. But we understand from Mr. Jim Crockett Jr., president of Jim Crockett Promotions, negotiations have been going on, meetings have been going on all week to possibly get that racket that, as you know, was instrumental in them securing the World Tag Team Title Championship, get that racket suspended from professional wrestling, and we'll talk more about that later on. A couple of more things I'd like to address right now. As you know, speaking of tag teams, Jim Crockett Memorial Senior Tag Team Tournament for the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup is coming up very soon. We're going to bring Jim Crockett in here to talk about that, but also to talk about a trophy and a brand new belt that has been given to none other than the World Heavyweight Champion, Nature Boy Ric Flair. I have seen the belt. As you know, Ric Flair is the heavyweight champion of the entire world, and this belt is certainly a magnificent trophy for only one man, who is the World Heavyweight Champion. Jimmy Crockett, I have seen that belt. It is gorgeous, that belt that Ric Flair now has. But what we want to talk about is the tournament for the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup. A lot of places are bidding to get this tournament, I know, all across the world. Tokyo, Japan, one of them.
Well, you know, the purse has been set at $1 million. It's the first ever tag team tournament ever sanctioned by the National Wrestling Alliance. And we at Jim Crockett Promotions are very proud and honored that they named it after my father, Jim Crockett Sr. And I think that the NWA should grant Charlotte, North Carolina, the home of Jim Crockett Promotions, where Jim Crockett got it all started, to be the site of the Jim Crockett Memorial Senior Cup, or one of the two great Starcade cities, Atlanta or Greensboro. And I personally believe that's where it'll be.
Well, we do know that bids are coming in from all over the world to host the tournament for the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup. And as Jimmy said, hopefully for Jim Crockett Promotions, it will be in either the Starcade cities or in Charlotte, North Carolina. Thank you very much,
Thank
Jimmy.
you,
let's go back to the ring. We talked about Ric Flair and that gorgeous belt he now owns. It's a trophy that the World Heavyweight Champion holds. It's a belt valued at over $35,000. And one man who would like to have that brand new belt around his waist, and many people feel certainly is the next man to own it, is Ron Garvin.
What about that? Putting over the belt we haven't even seen yet.
Yeah. How about Jimmy Crockett interrupting me? He was telling me to shut up. Did you notice that?
It was. I saw you giggling, those shoulders moving on video.
I was going on and on and on. He said, well, like as to say, let me take it.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of rambling there. But yeah, I love that.
How was he in this era? Man, look at that.
Oh, Jimmy was fine. Jimmy was demanding. Jimmy let you know when you did something he didn't like.
I've always gotten the impression that he wasn't really, this isn't the right word, jokey with the guys. He didn't have he was really straight laced, right?
Right. I never thought Jimmy was much of a people person.
Right.
Like David was. But he had a lot on his shoulders. I mean, think about it this way. He not only had his company to run, but he had a company that his dad built.
Right.
And I just think that has to be a tremendous amount of pressure because of how respected Jim Crockett Sr. was. If I'm his son and there's this guy who was this tremendous promoter back in the day that made wrestling what it was in the Carolinas, I have a lot of pressure on me to keep that going.
I saw an interview with Buddy Landell once, and he talked about how Jim Crockett Jr. fucked it all up. I mean, his daddy had the best promotion ever. And of course he came in and just screwed everything up. And I'm like, what a terrible take.
Yeah, no, wrong.
Don't get me wrong. Jim Crockett Sr. did a phenomenal job and built a great business, et cetera, et cetera. But to compare, the impact on the business and certainly the impact to the top line gross, Jim Crockett Jr. grossed way more in wrestling than Senior ever did. Way more.
Yeah. But Buddy Landell, where he's coming from.
Oh yeah.
The fact they fired his ass.
Of course.
So you gotta understand that take. But Jimmy was, Jimmy was great to me. Great to me. With the exception of near the end when we had our blow up. But, back then he wasn't my boss.
Right.
But I owe Jimmy Crockett, David Crockett, Francis, and Jimmy a lot. I mean, when I go back and I think about the people who've meant a lot to me in my career, it's obviously the Crockett family. It's obviously Vince, Eric, Jim Hurd, you.
Oh, shut up.
Stop. It's right. Flair and Dusty, obviously, and obviously Tony Khan and Cody and all the EVPs.
I love that I'm on that list. That's like, which one of these is not like the other?
No. Yeah, you're right. It's not like the other. But when you talk about important parts of Tony's career, you're part of that. I shouldn't refer to myself in the third person. Tony Schiavone's career. You're in there, so there you go. And Dr. Britt Baker, my buddy, who gave us our countdown.
It's always my favorite when I see, haters online say something like, man, Tony Schiavone's podcast would be so much better if Conrad Thompson wasn't on it.
Mm-hmm.
He should fire Conrad.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, do you know how Tony got back into wrestling, you dickhead? Like, It was me saying, hey, man, I paid for that wedding, man. Let's do some matches.
Yeah. You know what? When I see something like that, you know what I think? You know how much a better Twitter would be without you on there, fucker? Block.
No, yeah. Listen, yeah. I'm nearly at 1,000 blocks. So
yeah,
I'm trying to get to those JBL numbers. He showed me a few years back. He had like 8,000 blocks.
Really?
I was like, dude, that's unbelievable.
It's somebody, there was asked on Twitter the other day, what's your favorite thing? And I said, blocking people on Twitter.
Yeah.
And it is, because what happens is it's like,
oh wait, I hope he says proud to be American. Here we go.
Okay.
Title belt. You may have seen that new belt that Ric Flair now has, and that really makes it even more of an inducement to get that belt around your waist.
You said it right, Tony. Ric Flair and I are on a collision course. And I've known this for some time, and I know Ric Flair knows it. The whole world knows it. It's going to happen. You see, when two trains are about to collide, there's no telling. Somebody's got to go off the track. Somebody's got to back down. Well, I'm not going off the track. I'm not going to back down. Ric Flair, I want what you got around your waist. With all due respect for your ability as a wrestler, not as a human being, but as a wrestler, I do respect your ability, because you're probably the toughest man I've ever faced. But you and I will meet we'll look at each other in the eye, and I don't care where it's at. Might be St. Louis, might be Greensboro, might be Cleveland, Buffalo, New. It don't matter where it's at, you see. Because when we step into that ring, we're going for that $35,000 worth of gold you got around your waist and all the prestige. So we can sit here, you can sit out here and talk about all your women, custom made from head to toe. I'm not custom made, but I'm man. All man from head to toe. And that, Ric Flair, you will find out when I step into the ring, no matter where it's at.
Ronnie Garvin looking right at the world champion and that brand new belt. We're coming right back.
And I'm proud to be an American.
I don't know if you saw my reaction on video or not, but the cutaway shot when Ronnie Garvin was talking to that girl.
Yeah.
That's to be Nikita Koloff's wife.
Really?
Yeah, that's the girl who would marry Nikita Koloff. That was, as we said, Miss Alabama, and she was beautiful.
She passed away too, right?
What's that?
Didn't she pass away?
Yeah, she passed away.
Right. Cornette's still with us, though. Here we go.
Matter is my constitutional right. The right to bear arms, the right to personal freedom and privacy, and besides that, Mother gave it to me, and it's my security blanket. It takes care of me while she's not around. So, Crockett, if you were going to get your way, evidently you would have got it by now, wouldn't you? But let me tell you something. You get on the wrong side of the Cornette family, we'll be holding the Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Cup in my mama's living room because it's big enough. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you now the NWA World Tag Team Champions, the greatest team in professional wrestling today. Loverboy Dennis and beautiful Bobby the Midnight Express.
So tell us about Nikita's Miss Alabama bride, who we know passed away just a couple years after this.
Right. Yeah. She, after they got married, she passed away.
It was like 88. So it was literally 2 years after this. Man, I hate that I wasn't. I mean, I remember the lady, but I didn't have the context of knowing that when she was just on camera.
Yeah, that's where we discovered her.
Wait,
okay,
she just showed up to the matches? She just showed up to the matches.
She just showed up to the matches. She started coming to taping. And here's the story. Because I am Tully Schiavone, and I'll point her out every time we see her. I am Tully Schiavone, the matchmaker.
Oh, you did it.
Oh, yes, I did.
Well, let's hear it.
Working in the office. Would ride with Nikita sometimes. As Arn Anderson would say, you're the only one that will ride with Nikita Koloff, so that's why he rides with you. Everybody else hates him.
Yeah.
So Nikita and I would ride, and Nikita told me one time, and I would ride with him sometime. I would ride with the office people like Gene Anderson and Sandy Scott. And sometimes just me and Nikita, sometimes me and Jim Cornette. We all lived in the Charlotte area, so it was easy. I'm talking about the TV tapings in the Carolinas. So anyway, on one of the trips, Nikita said to me, you know that girl, Miss Alabama? See if she would go out with me. And I said, well, how did I do that? He said, I don't know. He said, she's there. Get her number and see if she'd go out with me. I said, okay. And I can't remember how I got her number, but I got her number. And I called her from the office. I remember the day I called her. I said, it's Tony Schiavone. She, well, hi, Mr. Schiavone. You know how those people from Alabama talk.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, Nikita Koloff wanted me to call because he can't, he's got, he can't really has a good command of the English language yet. And he would like to go out with you. She said, I'd love to go out with him. Would you give him my number? I said, sure. So I gave him the number and they started dating and they got married. And I was the one who approached her with that. And there's another story about her too that Magnum TA tells. Magnum TA, I hate to say this because she's passed on. I know Nikita loved her. Okay. Magnum claims that she was nuts.
Really?
Yeah. He claims that she really had a mental problem.
Oh.
He tells the story that we were, Simon Malone's, which was a restaurant near the airport.
Yeah.
That we always went to especially after the Omni shows or something like it, mostly after the Omni shows. It was a place they all hung out, drank, ate. I had a lot of drinks there, a lot of food. He claims that one time that she was talking to him and Dusty one day in Malone's and flirting with them and being nice. And they were, Magnum probably hitting on her. I don't know. And the next time she came in Malone's, Magnum tells me the story, came in Malone's, she walked right by him, didn't even ignore him. And so he went and talked to her. He said, what's wrong? Last time we had a lot of fun together. This time you won't even look at it. She said, oh, I'm sorry. I have an identical twin that comes in here too. And you must have been talking about her. And she had no identical twin.
Right.
So Magnum said she was out of her mind. And I said, are you serious? He said, no, I tell you that story is true. So I don't know whether she was nuts or not, but she married Nikita.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. She married Nikita. So
yeah. And you know what? I don't know. Nikita didn't smarten her up for a long, long time. Nikita really believed he really lived his character. There's some wrestlers out there today that still do that, which I think is tremendous. But this broken English type thing, Nikita Koloff was serious about it. I mean, he legally changed his name to Nikita S. Koloff from Scott Simpson.
I mean, I don't know why you're making fun of that. Everybody knows here that your name is now Tony Schiavone.
From what?
What do you mean?
From Gomer Pyle?
Oh, dude, everybody knows that you're a West Virginia hillbilly.
Oh, fuck you.
Your real name is probably like Maurice or something.
Maurice. Hey, Maurice.
Maurice Hopkins.
Maurice, would you clean out the outdoor John?
As my friends call me Mo Hop.
But so he changed his name. He married Miss Alabama. You're going to see in here as she's obviously beautiful. They're going to take more and more shots of her as the year goes on. You're going to even hear Dusty say hello to her. Hello, Miss Alabama.
It's during this promo on this show.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Tremendous.
By the way, or maybe it's next week, but it's one of these because I just previews these.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we should give everybody a peek behind the curtain. We're putting one in the can, so we're getting ahead. So because of that, I watched them both back to back. So if it's not this one, it's the next one. I didn't realize until I was an adult, like I'm going to say like maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that Nikita had married a woman, not only from Alabama, but from Boaz. And I graduated high school in Gunnersville, and Boaz is just 2 towns over. So, 15 minutes or less and you're in Boaz. Anyway, I say all that to say, I was at a gas station a few years ago and a guy approached me and said, "Hey man, is Ric Flair your father-in-law?" Which was the most random thing ever. It's the first time it's happened in Huntsville. And I was like, yeah. And then he said, "Man, do you remember when Nikita's wife died?" And I'm like, whoa, that took a right turn. What? And he said, "Yeah, she died right over there." And he pointed to our Huntsville hospital. I live on top of Montesano Mountain, but at the base of that is Huntsville Hospital. So that I go to that Exxon or Chevron or whatever it is. And he just points across the street and he's like, "Yeah, she died right over there." And I just look at him and I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Man, I was such a wrestling fan as a kid and my uncle was having surgery and we came to visit. And so as we're just sitting in the lobby, Nikita Koloff's on the payphone and he turns around and he's crying. And we went from wanting an autograph to, something bad happened. Let's leave him alone."
Yeah.
And then later I read in Pro Wrestling Illustrated that Nikita's wife died, but I didn't know that I saw it. Like I was there that day and I was like, man, I had no idea that a few years ago that he even married a woman from Alabama, B, that it was so close, and C, that ultimately when she passed away, it's like my home hospital right here.
Wow. I remember talking to her about her illness when she first was diagnosed. And I remember her crying. And this is obviously after they were married, and she still came to shows and talking to her. And there's a real sad part to this too. Another real sad part. I don't even know if I should mention it, but I'm going to. I talked about Magnum
Mm-hmm.
and Magnum saying that she may have had split personalities. Some people have that.
Yeah, of course. I know people who do.
Yeah. They are. I know people do too. I married one. Anyway, so there were people in wrestling. I was not one of them. And I'm not saying Magnum was one too. There were people in wrestling that really didn't believe she was sick.
Really?
Yeah, until she passed away.
They thought because she was full, all split personality, all that stuff brought everything into question.
Exactly. And I hate that happened, but I remember that being floated out there, and I don't know. I don't know who first said that, but I know Magnum first talked about her in that episode in Malone's, but yeah, there were people in wrestling that really thought she wasn't sick. That she was either looking for attention or just throwing out one of her stories, or I don't know. But obviously she was telling the truth, and it was true, and it was a tragedy, and I liked her. She was very nice to me, and she was absolutely gorgeous.
We're talking over a pretty good match here. This is especially good when you consider that most of the time these are all enhancement matches, but I guess every now and again you'll get a real match, and this is one of them. Midnight Express defending their tag team's titles against Ron Bass and Don Kernodle. Don, of course, had tasted championship gold, and Ron Bass was always positioned as upper middle card, right?
Yeah, and there was the big leg drop that we saw as we were talking there.
Yeah.
That Bobby sometimes gets a finish in. He put it on Ron Bass. Ron kicked out and won.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was Ron just saying, fuck it, I'm not going for that. Or if, because Bobby was really good. He was really easy. If Bobby here he goes again, this time, man, and Ron moved out of the way. So yeah, we're getting a match. Look at the fans jumping up, man. Made that hot tag to Don Kernodle, and there's a fan in the front row almost jumped out of his seat. Unlike Peggy Latham would have done, who just sits there with her arms crossed, as we've seen in the Mid-Atlantic shows.
Well,
not cheering for anything,
Well, let's go back and watch the first AEW pay-per-view. How much were you cheering?
Well, I was pretty drunk.
So what does that mean? You were cheering a lot?
Yes, in my mind.
I was pretty drunk. Man, I had 3 Shirley Temples before I went over.
Well, listen, Matt Schiavone and the gimmick attorney kept going back and getting drinks. Kept going back. I'm like, what the fuck you guys doing? So, man, we're having fun. And they got Silva and you got Hancock. And then, of course, you were going to be there, but you kayfabed all of us. I still got the ticket stub, by the way. I looked at that the other day.
How fun is that?
Yeah, that means a lot.
No, it does.
Means a lot. Number one, because I didn't buy it. You did.
Yeah, and I paid a lot.
Yes, you did. And number two, it's just, I don't know. It's just, look at this. Rock and Roll hits the ring.
Clear them out with a couple of drop kicks. Let's track it.
So how about Kernodle and Bass? Cornette is taking the belts, and he is gone.
DQ.
Yep. The big racket shot and the Rock and Rolls have something to say.
Tony, it seems like Jimmy Cornette comes out here with this record. But let me tell you something, Cornette. And I'd like to say something to Mr. Jim Crockett. We appreciate you coming out here and fighting Jimmy Cornette $5,000. But Jimmy Cornette, you said you didn't care about $5,000. But you look at the RnR Express. We don't care about the $5,000 either, baby. But what we want to do is we're going to settle this situation in our own way. We want to settle it in our own self because we're all getting together. I'm talking about the American dream. I'm talking about Magnum TA. We're going to handle this situation, Jimmy Cornette, ourselves. Because you can run and you can hide, but sooner or later, the RnR Express is going to get right down to you.
Okay, here's the American dream, Dusty Rhodes.
These men don't need nobody. Like they said, everybody stay out their business. I'm not getting in their business. We know that Jim Cornette is going to be put in a cage somewhere. I got a present for my boys here.
Okay, got a present for you.
Right here, boys, is the Betty Lou.
When I found Betty Lou a few years ago in San Francisco, California, it was being used in a place where things were done and it was kind of kinky, you understand? So right now, what I'm going to tell you is, it's got a hook on the top. You put Cornette in this cage, they'll take it 80 feet in the ceiling, anywhere in the world, and he'll be out of your hair. Betty Lou belongs to y'all. Thank you, Dusty. Woo! Betty Lou is coming out tonight. Let me say one thing, Jimmy Cornette, we told you you can run anywhere you want to, but from now on, you belong to the RnR Express, because sooner or later, baby, we're gonna come down, and we're gonna come down hard. Woo! You Dusty.
All right, Betty Lou, the cage.
We're gonna come down hard.
Yeah, and many times tonight.
How about that promo from Dusty? This is Betty Lou. I got her from San Francisco where they do things a little kinky.
The way he said kinky, and he looked at me and he drew it right. Oh, here he is again.
Have his way. Out steps the American Dream. Now, I'm sure you heard what Tully Blanchard had to say. They say 4 weeks until they have that title.
Well, Tully Blanchard's got a way of saying a lot of things that don't take place, you know. And he said, when I take the title in 4 weeks from Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, you won't have anything. Well, one thing that he had forgot about is for a year and a half, there was somebody that took care of his ever needs, led him down the right path, and on 2 different occasions gave him 2 major titles in this country. And now I have, a man don't own no women in this country, you understand? Women are now right equal to par with everybody else anywhere, and I love the ladies. And my main lady right here, Dolly, takes care of the American Dream now. Arn Anderson is very simple. Week in and week out, we come out here on this television, without a doubt, and we talk about the world's television title. We talk about you having it, and you never beaten Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. That's very simple. The facts are, it's just very easy. And laid up somewhere in Wisconsin, unable to compete, unable to make a profit for his family, unable to really be anything but a laid up Ole Anderson, your cousin, you have forgot about that. Baby doll come out and she told you on nationwide TV, she told you on every television throughout this country, said, Arn Anderson, you're next. It's simple. It's easy. Read between the lines. And Tully Blanchard, 20 minutes, put me on my noggin. It takes more than one of them to keep the American Dream down. You take heed. How many times I got to come out here and spread the rumors that you're going to do something and you're going to get Dusty Rhodes Day in 4 weeks, today, anytime, come on and get it. And Ric Flair, in this vast kingdom of the world, Ric Flair, there's only room for one king. And I will rule as long as I want. And that pretty little lady from Alabama over there, that pretty little lady from Alabama in the brown, I love her to death, baby. There ain't no doubt about it.
Let's go back to the ring.
He just
he called her out, man. He was trying to call for the camera shot too, because he said it twice. That pretty little lady in the brown, I just love her. She's gonna become a star, man. I love how he says noggin, shit like that. Just great interviewer. People dressed up. If you can see down the right, and guys dressed up in ties.
Yeah.
Cornette
is a genius. He's got a sign that says Cornette's a genius.
They loved Flair. Yeah, they were ahead of their time, buddy. They were heel fans.
Super fans.
And, you know, I think about, I watched just last night as we're taping this, I watched the documentary on the Bee Gees. And it talks about how the Bee Gees. Really good. What's that?
I saw it. It's really good.
Yeah, it is. But it talked about how the Bee Gees were during the disco era, how they were great.
Yep.
And then everybody started to hate disco and the disco sucks movement. And then no one would play their records.
Yep.
That's kind of thing. Popularity wise, the Bee Gees had their time and then times change and they were no longer what they were at one time. Same thing with the RnR Express. I remember, everybody loved them. But as time, there's Miss Alabama.
Pretty lady from Alabama is on the screen. Did you see that? They put it on the screen. Now, we just watched an episode of Mid-Atlantic where they're showing merch. They didn't put on the screen where to buy the goddamn merch. No, they didn't do that. But boy, you bet your ass they put Pretty Lady from Alabama. Oh. My God.
I know. Dusty went back, so we need to see a shot of her. And Alice typed up the video font. Boom, 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 boom. Alice Arth. Pretty Lady from Alabama. Tommy Young got the shot, took it.
And at this point, she's dating Nikita?
I don't think it started yet. It started after we started showing her on TV. But it was close.
So they were already, and so when you're showing her on TV, is there some sort of relationship? Like, does she come to the office or call the office? Does she know somebody, or is it just she gets tickets and keeps showing up and y'all keep putting her on TV?
That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh.
What was I can't remember what was I talking about.
Oh, listen to this.
Reservations.
They must have.
Hang in there.
And call that number right there. We do have excitement. We tape every Saturday morning, and you talk about excitement today. We still have a match for the World Television title as Arn Anderson defends against the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Champion Sam Houston. That is still to come.
There's a moment here where you say, our floor producer, Wayne Daniel, has just let me know that we've given you the wrong phone number. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't call this
number for television reservations.
I bailed out too soon, but you were like, we're very sorry. We've given you the wrong number.
Reservations. Please call, absolutely free of charge, but to get in, you must have a reservation. Please call that number.
Okay. Yes, you'd already said it at that point, but you ran the wrong number, had to do it again, run the right number.
Jesus Christ. Well, anyway, so the Bee Gees had their time, and there was a time I remember, I guess it was maybe the 90s.
Yeah, 91 mid-90s? Probably is when it started to be lame.
Yeah, the gimmick wore thin.
Yeah.
The girls grew up, and they weren't that popular anymore. They got booed because it was cool to boo the bad guys. It was just how things changed. And I equate that to the Bee Gees, where they were cool for a time, but then things started to change. And man, they were popular back then. Of course, the only bad thing about the Bee Gees documentary, it had Justin fucking Timberlake in it.
Hey, have you seen that new Britney Spears documentary?
No.
Go to Hulu and type in New York Times Presents, and they have about an hour and 15 minute documentary on Britney Spears.
Mm-hmm.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
I'm gonna
not kidding around. You should watch it with Lois.
With Lois?
Yeah. I mean, you do watch TV with your wife, don't you? Sometimes
watch TV with her yesterday for a long time. We watched WandaVision. Have you watched that?
No. Man. Have you been watching Your Honor?
Your Honor?
Yes.
No.
You will love it. Go out of your way to see it. Here we go. The big double team spot, which was definitely a specialty. And here comes the finish. If I had to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, don't turn around.
The double drop kick. And that is going to be it, I'm sure. Yes, sir.
I love the way those rings sounded, even when the ref would count. I just like the metal, the clanging.
Mm-hmm. I always thought with the exception of that, I always thought the old WWF shows sounded good. The rings back then.
How about Nikita here trying to get dressed up for his girlfriend? Let's track it.
This trophy, as you well know by now, indicative of the world six-man tag team champions, 2/3, Ivan Koloff and Nikita Koloff, and I should say, looking very dapper.
This is right. You know, I have a message for Crusher Khrushchev, to you, Paul Navy, Road Warriors. The leg is healing very fast. He's looking forward to coming back and avenging himself against you. You know, the fact is, we did what we were going. going to do, we said we're going to do by leaving you laying on our first encounter. Now you think you have the advantage inside the cage, a double chain match, or 6-man? No, this is our type of match. We excel at this. We are looking forward to it. You Americans out there, Magnum TA going around saying he's the United States heavyweight champion. This is a lie. Let's go back in history. Nephew Nikita, myself, we're at Starrcade. We never heard Tully Blanchard say I quit because he never said it. You are a liar and you are a cheat. How much you pay promoters? How much you pay NWA to keep United States belt? Yes, you are a liar and a cheat, Magnum TA. The fact is, Nikita, my nephew, is the uncrowned United States heavyweight champion, and not you. Yes, all the Americans know. All Russia knows, the Soviet Union, the Kremlin knows that American TV is strong over here in America. Millions and millions of people watch it. NWA, Jim Crockett promotion, highest rating ever, professional wrestling. Why? Because of nephew Nikita, because of the Koloff family. Everybody wants to watch us come out here. Because of this, the Kremlin has ordered nephew Nikita not to wrestle anymore after today on television until this coward, Magnum TA, sign a contract to wrestle Nikita on television for United States Heavyweight Championship. And you, Dusty Rhodes, you better keep your nose out of our business or you'll have more than broken leg, Mickey. Спасибо, Garvin. Magnum TA. Будете купить свят или шишканина. Magnum TA. Английского собака. Меня вот. Что это Magnum TA? Put your name down.
Okay, as you heard Ivan Koloff say about Nikita Koloff, let's go to the ring right now.
Magnum TA.
Shatoata.
I love that old US belt.
Yeah, it's a good one, man.
All Silver Jones.
We're getting ready. We're getting close to the best of 7, aren't we?
Yeah, it happens this summer.
Yeah.
So much big stuff happens here in 86, man.
Right.
You know, Crockett Cup, the new belt, Crockett Cup, Great American Bash Tour, best of 7, Dusty winning the world title, all the stadium shows, Magnum's accident, Night of the Skywalkers. That's all the same year.
Do you know where Magnum's? I guess Magnum's going to come down and talk to me, buddy.
I mean, you talk about in and out. Ring the bell, belly to belly, we're done.
There's no more on TV after today until he gets a shot for your title on TV.
Well, frankly, maybe I'd be doing the whole wrestling world a favor if I never wrestled Nikita Koloff on television. Because personally, I'm sure the people out there don't like seeing him any more than I do. Now, you don't have to take too close a look at me to see this battle's kind of taking its toll on me. Yeah, there's a lot of damage being done to me, but not just by Nikita Koloff. I'm up against the whole family. Every time I go to the ring, there's Ivan Koloff there. Never know if Baron von Raschke's going to show up somewhere. But Nikita, you look at me real close. I won that title all by myself. Nobody gave it to me. I beat Tully Blanchard 1, 2, 3. I made him quit. That's why I'm the champion. Now, if you are half the man you say all you Russians are, you can get this done all by yourself. Now, if you want the one-on-one title match, that's fine. Here on television, I don't care where it's at. If you want a tag team match, the American Dream's always at my side. America's team is standing strong. So you and Baron, you and Ivan, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not handing that title over to anybody without a fight. You'll have to use that Russian sickle a lot better than you've been doing it because you're going to put me out for good. I'm not giving that title up. And now you or any other commie is going to put me down and take that title back to Russia.
Magnum TA, the U.S. heavyweight champion, back with our match for the world television title right after this.
Dude, Magnum cut a hell of a promo there. You want to talk about leaning in on the Cold War shit?
That's right.
No
baby.
commie's going to take it from me. Commie? What is this, Rocky
man.
4?
How
about this, man? You talk about two guys we've been looking at a lot this year. Arn Anderson, your TV champion, defending his TV title against Sam Houston, who just took off his Mid-Atlantic Championship belt. So champion versus champion here on TBS. This is a big time match for the era.
Oh yeah. Big time match. And Arn Anderson, and actually, Sam was a good worker, and we've seen some of the stuff he could do, and fast, and obviously a wrestling family. I loved Magnum's interview. Look at Arn.
Did you see this past week? We just celebrated the 25th anniversary of Arn picking up a clean pinfall win over Hulk Hogan.
No,
it's been 25 years this past Friday since Arn beat Hogan on Nitro.
Wow.
And I say clean, but it wasn't.
Well, still.
He was a horseman. Anyway, at the time, only two guys had pinned Hogan and Flair. And that was Bob Armstrong and Antonio Inoki.
Whoa.
So at that moment, Arn became the third man to do both. Now, of course, a lot of guys have done it since.
Sure.
Brock, Rock, Hunter, on and on. But this is a pretty cool deal here to say, hey man, only three guys have beaten Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan: Antonio Inoki, Bob Armstrong, and me. And I know some of our listeners may think, oh, Inoki's a big deal, but Armstrong? Well, where Arn grew up, Bob Armstrong was Hulk Hogan.
Damn right.
And the idea that you're in that rarefied air, one of the biggest stars in the South, one of the biggest stars in Japan, and you, a 250-pound set of cultured bulk. He took great issue with me calling it country bulk. He said, I never said country bulk a day in my life. It was cultured bulk. You and Schiavone need to get that shit out of your ears.
Well, guess what?
Cultured bulk. Go back and listen.
Yeah. Well, this week when we're back together in Jacksonville, he's going to hear country bulk a lot.
There you go.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I love ammunition against him. He certainly is. He's working slow here.
Yeah, he's taking his time. He's doing heel shit, trying to get the crowd into it.
Yeah, he really is. Country bulk.
By the way, it's funny because when we had that conversation, I said, so you're denying you said it? He said, yeah, I didn't say it. I said, are you denying your country? He's like, oh, I'm not denying I'm country. I definitely am country, but I said cultured bulk.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a new shirt over at boxofgimmicks.com that says country bulk, and we scratch a line through it and it says cultured bulk.
You say it, it'll be a shirt.
Oh, you did right. Yeah. Don't forget, we got a Weasel Slapper shirt over at boxofgimmicks.com. And we've even got a Tully Blanchard Enterprises travel agency. We'll take you to Saturn or Mars or whatever he said, and everywhere else too.
That is great stuff. I really, every time I see Arn, it brings a smile to my face. Did he know that he at that time had been only one of three to pin Hogan?
No, I don't think he even knew when I showed him the other day.
Yeah.
And I said, hey man, if you still got those black and gold boots, you can probably, clean up selling them on eBay right now.
And he doesn't have them.
And
right?
He replied, shit, I don't know where they are.
Well, you're the one that brought our attention to Nostalgia for Sale.
Yeah.
I wish I had all the old Nitro formats.
Dude, we'd be cleaning up, son.
Right. And here's the good news. Laurie Schiavone has collected each and every AEW Dynamite format I've ever done.
Dude, I knew that. And so it was funny because when we were over a couple months ago, Silva said, hey, are you saving all of your AEW? And you had a mountain of paperwork. You're like, yep, there it is right there. He's like, 20 years from now, we're going to, he's in his bat cave and he stretches his hands out like he's Al Pacino giving a speech. 20 years from now, that very pile of papers are going to pay for me a condo on the beach. Just got to keep Conrad alive 20 more years. I'm going to gift his big ass a Peloton. Maybe he'll take the hint, drop a few LB so I can get my goddamn condo.
They're now in binders.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned my lesson on that one. And I know there's stuff in the attic. Six-man belt be damned.
I know how it is though. Like, all of my friends in the group chat, they all have some mementos from StarCast.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing. I didn't keep anything.
Yeah.
it's like, what do I care? I was there.
Right. And that's the same way with me.
Right. I say that, but you know what? Somewhere I've got a CM Punk collector cup.
Oh.
But everything else is just, I don't have it. It's gone. So I understand how it happens, but Bischoff and I talk about that all the time. Like, what do you wish you would have kept? And I've running him down something pretty cool that he's going to use as part of his videos sooner rather than later, hopefully before WrestleMania. But like, he's like, man, I wish I would have kept like a Nitro sign. And I'm like, yeah, you probably should have done that.
Yeah. Also, it's well known that there's a lot of stuff out there that, people who had been in the business don't even realize that's valuable to people. But
yeah.
There's some stuff in the attic. I've started a box for you, and the box doesn't have that much in it. I'm going to kind of wait until I fill it up. I found the other day, which I really can't give this away, because it's really Matt Schiavone's, and I'm sure he'd want it. I probably shouldn't even say it. I should probably go ahead and give it to you, but it's a Sting shirt that Hulk Hogan signed.
Wow.
For Matt Schiavone. I remember when he did it.
Why don't you give it to Matt Schiavone?
Next time I see him, I will, if I think about it.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. And I've got the Macho Man hat, the foam green hat.
Yeah, the giant one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that there somewhere. I think I may have a Hogan finger. I don't know. But there's a lot of stuff up there that just, because we got so much shit, I got to pay somebody to go up there and just drag it out for me.
Well, we got people volunteering all the time,
Yeah, but I don't want some of those people in my house.
No, I got you.
I'm kidding.
No, I get it.
Who wants Dave Hancock or Pondwater Dave?
No, I didn't mean them. We have people, our list. Carl Mandick will do it tomorrow.
Okay. So who would want him in your attic?
That's a good call.
Okay. Or like,
Bad Money Slim.
That'd be pretty good. Don't want Mike Kolb in my attic.
No, of course not.
Would never have Adam DeMoy in my.
What about Canadian Travis?
Yeah, I could lock DeMoy in my attic.
It's funny because I don't think Efren wants up there. I think he's just in your closet.
There's a lot of people. So let's get a group to go to the attic.
Okay.
We'll feed them lunch. We'll feed them fried chicken like we used to do back in the day in Crockett's when we had interview time.
Tell everybody about those interview days. So you're in the back of the Crockett office. It's like a garage. You're doing one pre-tape after another. Originally it's all day Wednesday. Maybe at some point it's all day Tuesday. And there's a camera set up. There's a microphone. There's a couple lights. And then the rest is just sort of like a real garage, right? Concrete floors and nothing happening.
They had those orange and blue backgrounds, which had a soundboard in them, or I called them sonic boards.
Yeah.
That helped deaden the sound. That was an all day thing. And they brought in fried chicken. There was this place right up the road that had fried chicken.
What was it called? Do you remember?
It was Holly Farms Chicken. Holly Farms and Holly Farms went on to sell, I think, to Purdue. But Holly Farms was a big chicken producer in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, and they had fried chicken restaurants back then. And there was one; it was right near the ballpark. They always go up there and get Holly Farms chicken.
I'm looking at a picture of it now. That's cool, man. That's old school.
Yeah, that is old school. And they sponsor a lot of NASCAR drivers too. Holly Farms was a big NASCAR sponsor.
How was it compared to like a KFC?
It was the best. It was the absolute. We loved it back then. We ate plenty of it. So yeah, it would come in, and Gene Anderson would run guys down, and at first there was. I guess we could find some of those and watch them. I know there's some on YouTube. They're very hard to find. At first there was like a light stand with a piece of metal that was put on top of it. And this piece of metal was like, I don't know. They had a magnet that clipped this big, long yellow computer paper, the data paper that had the holes in each side.
Yeah.
And Gene would write the card on there. He would go Friday, February 3rd, Charlotte, and he would write down a few names. And then he would say, whatever the main event that I was talking about that day, and he would write down the matches. And when I first started doing it, I would not look into the camera. I would look off to the side because I was reading the stuff down. I remember one day, a bunch of guys, I was doing ring announcing somewhere, and a bunch of guys hollered at me and went, "Hey, cue card," because I was looking to the side. And then we got a teleprompter, and it was my job to put the stuff in the teleprompter for me that Gene would give me. Gene would run down, and I think I mentioned this before, Gene would run down the talent because the talent would float around the office and they would not stay put because, it's a small confined place, and go in and bullshit with Dusty or politic with Dusty, talk to Jimmy, talk to David, go outside. I don't know if some of them smoked, all of them dipped. And it was funny because you would hear Gene say, "All right, we got Tully, we got Arn, we got, God damn it, Ric Flair. Hang on a second. I have to run all over the fucking place for him." And we'd stop down and he'd run to get Flair. It happened all the time. But that's the way it was done, man. One after another. And Wayne in the back would have a 1-inch machine, an old 2-inch machine, and a couple of 1-inch machines. And he would have one ready, position number 1, and he would insert it in. And I would do 1, 2, 3 heel interviews. And then I would do 1, 2, 3 babyface interviews. And he had 3 tapes. They'd ship it out that day, man. And it was inserted right in. And there very rarely was a botch. We just went with it, man. I mean, it was easy. I ran down the shit, and they said their shit.
Megan tells me she remembers going back there with her dad as a kid, and he would get her a Coke, and she would just sit in a chair in the garage and wait.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And it was that garage that smartened me up. And by the way, I do want to mention this even to people that's watching on Patreon, because we do give it ad free, but coming up pretty soon is in March. We're going to have some information about the graphic novel. And
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Go to buttsandseatscomic.com and you'll be notified when it's going to be available.
Hook the leg, and there it is. Pretty good match here with Sam Houston. And look at the finish. Yep. Sam Houston just goes flying into the ropes, gets all tangled up, and that's going to set it up. Arn Anderson's your winner, and here he is talking to Tony.
It's still yours, and I know you're probably short of breath right now. Heck of a match. I mean, the young man really gave you a tussle out there.
Very formidable opponent. Very talented. A lot of guts.
Protege of Dusty Rhodes, I might say, also.
Same style. A lot of guts, a lot of fight, a lot of heart. But the bottom line is a little bit short on talent. Now, Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, RnR Express, Manny Fernandez, I don't care who you are. The bottom line is, this is mine. I earned it. Jim Crockett's not going to take it. David Crockett's not going to take it. Dusty Rhodes, you want this. You got to beat me for it in less than 20 minutes.
Still the world television champion, Arn Anderson. We're coming right back.
Jim Cornette's coming up. He's going to respond to old Betty Lou, and this is going to be good.
Back on World Championship Wrestling. I think from what we've seen earlier, we're going to really enjoy this interview.
Are you out of your mind? Get over here. Get over here right now. Come here, cheap suit. Come here. What is this? Whose idea is this?
It's a cage, Jim.
Dusty Rhodes, RnR Express. Who you think it's funny, don't you? You think it's real funny? Look at this right here. Yeah. Look at that. You think it...
Well, the racket won't fit through, but anyway, you're going to be 80 feet in the air, so it wouldn't matter.
80 feet in the air, up above the arena, up above over the ring. I am scared of heights, Tony Schiavone. I am terrified of heights. I am not an animal. I am not somebody that ought to be locked in a cage, Tony Schiavone. And I don't care whose idea it was, whether it's Dusty Rhodes, you big idiot, you goofy plumber son from Austin, Texas. I'm sick of hearing about all that stuff. You're nothing but trash. Rock and roll, you're insane. You're trying to get me killed. You're nothing but trash. I refuse. I cannot. I will find my mother's lawyers. We'll definitely hear about this. My mother's doctor. I have a morbid fear of heights. I promise you, Tony. I'm not.
don't you? Well, I wanted to ask him if he thought maybe if he would keep the Rocket away from the ring, things like this wouldn't happen. But there he goes. Let's go to the ring.
So our main event here is going to be, or maybe not our main event, our last match is Nikita and Josh Stroud. Man, I love the introduction of this cage for Cornette, and I love Cornette selling it. That was good stuff.
Yeah. Are you kind of surprised? I guess maybe they said that he would not wrestle on TV again until Magnum agreed. I guess Magnum agreed, right?
Yes.
Because
he ain't scared of no commie. No, he's saying this is his last appearance.
Oh, last appearance. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also heard Tully Blanchard call his shot, when he said earlier, I'm going to be the world champ within 4 weeks, within 1 month. And he did it.
Yeah.
Let's remind everybody the day before Jim Crockett ran a show in Cincinnati, Ohio, and the Championship Wrestling from Florida show was a big show down in Orlando. And that's where Flair actually debuted the big gold belt. He goes to a double count out with Barry Windham there, and it won match of the year in the Observer. The next day, here we are doing the morning tapings on Saturday the 15th. That night, there were 2 shows, one in Norfolk, Virginia, and one in Greensboro, North Carolina. In North Carolina, it was Flair and Garvin on top with Dusty and Arn right underneath. And how about this? In the third from the top spot, the Rock and Rolls versus the Midnights. What a loaded card that was.
Wow.
The other town, Norfolk, it actually got a pretty good main event too, with Magnum taking on Nikita in a lumberjack match. The next day, Flair is back in Miami, Florida for Championship Wrestling from Florida. And you guys are running in Charleston, South Carolina. On the 17th, it's a TV taping in Fayetteville, North Carolina. On the 18th, you're in Greenville, South Carolina, and Rock Hill, South Carolina, where you're doing some TV taping. Then on the 19th, you run a special show in the Pennsylvania area, King of Prussia. Believe it or not, you ran Pennsylvania here in 86. And then the following day, you did Battlestar 86, which is like a co-promoted show between Jim Crockett Promotions and the AWA in Baltimore. On top, it would be the Road Warriors working with the Russians. Right underneath, it was Dusty versus Flair. They also had Hanson versus Sergeant Slaughter. It was a loaded show, 13,000 people in Baltimore. And then, of course, on the 21st, one last shot. It's in Richmond, Virginia, Flair and Dusty on top. And then we're back here for next week's TV tapings on the 22nd. But man, you guys are all over the place and blowing up and doing real well. I mean, that was a 1 week span. Super show in Orlando, super show in Miami, even running a show in Baltimore. I mean, it's unbelievable the stuff that's happening in the major markets. It's big business here in 86 for Jim Crockett Promotions.
Yeah. I'm sure when you talked to Jimmy that he remembered some of those numbers about what we were grossing on a weekly basis. He had to.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I'll be interested to see have him talk about that. It was, again, it was a great time. Also, I've been meaning to ask you this. We've talked about the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup. The first one was, oh, here he comes, man. Give me
attack who has been double teamed by this Russian team before. And once again, hit in the back by Nikita Koloff. You can hear the fans. They're chanting for Dusty now. They're looking for the other half of America's team. Nikita Koloff, top turnbuckle, and the Russian sickle. That has completely wiped out Magnum TA. And now they continue to pummel Magnum TA as Ron Garvin and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, finally come in and break this despicable act up.
What do you think of Dusty's skull jacket?
Well, he dipped skull all the time. So that was just part of it. Ronnie Garvin with a hat on.
Does the jacket on Dusty zip?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, it probably does, just not with him in it. That's what's keeping it from happening. Let's remind everybody next week, we're going to be back watching February 22nd, 1986. It's going to be a pretty big time show. We've got, the RnR Express cutting a promo. Tully Blanchard's in action. The Road Warriors are in action. We're going to see the debut of the big gold belt. Jimmy Garvin makes his debut in Jim Crockett Promotions, which is a pretty big deal. We also see that Teijo actually debut in the ring. Flair's cutting a promo about the Crockett Cup. Cornette is still deathly afraid of being locked in that cage. Dusty Blanchard is going to cut a hell of a promo and say hello to Miss Alabama. We get Midnight Express in action, RnR Express in action. Road Warriors are cutting a promo. Magnum TA's wrestling. Lots of great stuff happening on What Happened When next week. I'm looking forward to it, man. This has been so fun. What say you?
Yeah, I've had a great time. Now, I wanted to ask you this. A great time doing this. And I appreciate all the positive feedback doing this. Again, we've told some stories that normally I wouldn't have remembered.
Right, unless you're watching
until we watch it.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate all the great feedback. I wanted to ask you about the Crockett Cup, the first one, 86, which is going to be in New Orleans. Is that available?
Yeah, we're going to watch it.
Hot damn. That was an exciting time for me.
We're going to watch a lot of great stuff, man. This year has been such a great year to cover. I think it's the most important in the history of Jim Crockett Promotions. I mean, just look what's happening next week. The debut of Jimmy Garvin. And oh, by the way, the new big gold belt. It really is remarkable. All the crazy stuff that happens in 86. And we're going to keep it going next week. Don't forget, we're covering the syndicated show as well over on Patreon and adfreeshows.com. But right now, Tony, it looks like it's about that time.
Making his way down the ring right now is Conrad Thompson, Mr. Gunnersville. And there you see at the bottom, there's pretty Mr. Gunnersville. Oh, and he's blowing us a kiss. Isn't that nice? Who's he going to face next week for the Boaz Championship? The Outlet Mole? Who knows? We'll see you next week on What Happened When. We come to you each and every week, Wednesdays, that is, on Westwood One. But Mondays, we come to you exclusively on
Patreon, patreon.com/WHW Monday. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.